Houston flood victims, famous rap artist goes rogue and exposes them. The worst is Alyssa Milano. She actually had the audacity to attack President Trump for donating $1 million of his own money for the relief efforts. BizPac Review reports, anti-Trumper Alyssa Milano is broke as a joke, didn't pay taxes and stiffed her employees. Actress Alyssa Milano broke bankrupt, sues business manager foreclosed, didn't pay taxes. Alyssa Milano blamed her former agent for not paying her income taxes and her employees. Actress Alyssa Milano is broke as a joke and didn't pay her taxes. Milano made the stunning revelations in a $10 million lawsuit she filed in Los Angeles against her former business manager, Kenneth Helly, and his firm Helly, Hoffer and Company because of Helly's alleged negligence. Milano says she failed to pay her income taxes for 2013 and 2014, didn't make mortgage payments on her West Hollywood condo, lost millions on a failed home renovation project, and neglected to pay her employees' taxes. In other words, Milano sounds like an equality opportunity deadbeat. Milano says Helly's poor oversight of the remodeling job caused costs to spiral. Milano alleges that her business manager also failed to pay her federal income taxes in 2013 and 2014. Milano says her employees also complained of late payments, and that Helly failed to pay her employees' taxes. Between the two of them, someone should have asked, "Hey honey, did I pay my taxes this year?" Pro-Muslim George Clooney moving back to U.S., feels unsafe in terrorism-ravaged UK. Ironically, Milano has loudly demanded that Trump release his income tax returns while ignoring her own unpaid taxes. Perhaps if Milano spent as much time managing her finances as she does slamming President Trump, she wouldn't be in this mess. Alyssa Milano has gotten more matronly and manly the more far-left her politics have become. In March 2017, Milano wrote an impassioned op-ed in Marie Claire magazine, where she urged fans to impeach Trump, whom she called an egomaniac with questionable business ethics. Alyssa told fans that impeaching Trump is up to women, so they must continue to protest and obstruct him. Texas sheriff warns looters of exactly what will happen to them if they are caught. Brilliant Texas-style justice. Fort Bend County Sheriff, Troy Nehls, stated how his residents are very friendly with the Second Amendment, giving a warning to potential looters to stay away. What might happen to looters who try ransacking Fort Bend? Well, they just might end up in a body bag, and quite frankly there's nothing wrong with that. My caution to the looters out there, those that want to rob our people that are suffering, you may want to stay out of Fort Bend County, because there's a possibility you could leave this county in a bag, and reminds viewers that many residents are armed. Fox News was interviewing Sheriff Nehls when they asked him what his county was doing about looters. The sheriff responded with strong words for any would-be looters trying to come into Fort Bend County. It's technically stealing, but stealing items of survival during the time of a natural disaster crisis is much different than stealing televisions during Hurricane Harvey. Another video shows two men each looting a flat-screen TV in Hurricane Harvey. Here's the Hurricane Harvey looting video for you to watch and make your own decision. What's your opinion? What was the point of stealing televisions during a storm? What were they doing? Using the TVs as umbrellas? How is that different from stealing food to feed a family of 5? Stealing food and electronics are both theft, but one of the crimes can be overlooked in a time where thousands of people are suffering from a major loss. When Sheriff Nehls issued his warning, it was to keep people like the TV looters out of his jurisdiction. Nehls and the residents of Fort Bend have enough issues to worry about with Hurricane Harvey, so if any looters want to prey on his people, then they should bring their own body bag. Nehls isn't playing around and wants every potential looter to understand one thing: people are armed and not afraid to shoot. Alert: FDA just recalled nearly 1 million pacemakers after what hackers were caught doing to people. Ordinarily, when you hear of a recall on a product, it usually has to do with eggs, ice cream, or some other miscellaneous food product. A recent report shows there has been a recall in pacemaker products. Considering the critical need required of pacemakers, this could lead to seem very serious if not fatal results. Many medical devices, including St. Jude Medical's implantable cardiac pacemakers, contain configurable embedded computer systems that can be vulnerable to cybersecurity intrusions and exploits, the FDA said in a security advisory. As medical devices become increasingly interconnected via the Internet, hospital networks, other medical devices, and smartphones, there is an increased risk of exploitation of cybersecurity vulnerabilities, some of which could affect how a medical device operates. To protect against these critical vulnerabilities, the pacemakers must be given a firmware update. The good news is that those affected by the recall do not require to have their pacemakers removed and replaced. Although there are no reports of compromised pacemakers yet, the threat is enough to potentially harm heart patients with an implanted pacemaker that could even put their lives at great risk. There needs to be more oversight for this type of problem. One of the larger issues at hand lies in the trust that people have in connectivity and the technological product. If people don't trust this product and feel it could be hacked at any time, they will stop using it. This is a life-saving and necessary product, and if not used properly could lead to fatalities. North Korea conducts largest nuclear test ever, possibly hydrogen. Trump and Mattis address the nation and warn Fat Boy. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake was detected in North Korea, and authorities have determined that it was caused by a nuclear test. Via Daily Caller, seismic activity in North Korea suggests the country just conducted its sixth nuclear test. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake, according to both the U.S. Geological Survey and the China Earthquake Administration, was detected in North Korea Sunday, just hours after the North revealed what it claimed is a thermonuclear device, specifically a hydrogen bomb. The Japanese Foreign Ministry has confirmed that North Korea conducted its sixth nuclear test at around noon on Sunday, September 3. Assuming North Korea just conducted another nuclear test, the explosive yield is almost certainly much higher than the last. The North has already developed an intercontinental ballistic missile that can range the vast majority of the continental U.S., and it is clear that North Korea has a nuclear warhead for this missile and the others in its arsenal. If North Korea tested the device revealed earlier, the North Korean nuclear crisis is about to get significantly more complicated. Via BBC, a large earth tremor detected in North Korea was the country's sixth nuclear test, Japan's foreign minister says. The government confirms that North Korea conducted a nuclear test after examining information from the weather agency and other information, Taro Kono told reporters. 7:16 a.m., September 3, 2017. 28 replies, 453 retweets, 286 likes. Twitter @info and privacy. Anna Fifield, WAPO's Tokyo bureau chief, tweeted, Japan's PM says he will not tolerate another nuclear test from North Korea. Japan sends up sniffer planes to try to detect radiation. Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam or our allies, will be met with a massive military response. Kim Jong-un should take heed. The United Nations Security Council's unified voice. All members unanimously agreed on the threat North Korea poses. And they remain unanimous in their commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Because we are not looking to the total annihilation of a country, namely, North Korea, but as I said, we have many options to do so. Watch. W'/S/2/34 EQN 11 p.m., September 3, 2017. 83 replies, 435 retweets, 980 likes. Twitter @info and privacy. If North Korea did indeed test a hydrogen bomb, and not just a nuclear one, it means we're entering a whole new, and very dangerous world. L'Oreal's first transgender racist model attacked white people, gets brutal instant payback. The world-renowned international cosmetic company L'Oreal just had to fire its first transgender model Friday after the dude called all white people racially violent on social media. Yup, you read that correctly. Just days after the dude got hired, L'Oreal had to axe Monroe Bergdorf for a Facebook post in which the so-called model called all white people racially violent. That's a model? On what planet? L'Oreal Paris UK responded to this by releasing a statement that confirms that they support diversity and tolerance towards all people irrespective of their race, background, gender, and religion, and that they believe that the recent comments by Monroe Bergdorf are at odds with those values, and because of this they have taken the decision to end the partnership with her. CNS News reports, Johns Hopkins psychiatrist, transgender is mental disorder, sex change biologically impossible. Dr. Paul R. McHugh, the former psychiatrist-in-chief for Johns Hopkins Hospital and its current Distinguished Service Professor of Psychiatry, said that transgenderism is a mental disorder that merits treatment, that sex change is biologically impossible, and that people who promote sexual reassignment surgery are collaborating with and promoting a mental disorder. Dr. McHugh, the author of 6 books and at least 125 peer-reviewed medical articles, made his remarks in a recent commentary in the Wall Street Journal, where he explained that transgender surgery is not the solution for people who suffer a disorder of assumption, the notion that their maleness or femaleness is different than what nature assigned to them biologically. He also reported on a new study showing that the suicide rate among transgendered people who had reassignment surgery is 20 times higher than the suicide rate among non-transgender people. As a result, some states, California, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, have passed laws barring psychiatrists, even with parental permission, from striving to restore natural gender feelings to a transgender minor, he said. The pro-transgender advocates do not want to know, said McHugh, that studies show between 70% and 80% of children who express transgender feelings spontaneously lose those feelings over time. For those who had sexual reassignment surgery, most said they were satisfied with the operation, but their subsequent psychosocial adjustments were no better than those who didn't have the surgery. And so at Hopkins we stopped doing sex reassignment surgery, since producing a satisfied but still troubled patient seemed an inadequate reason for surgically amputating normal organs, said Dr. McHugh. People who undergo sex reassignment surgery do not change from men to women or vice versa. Rather, they become feminized men or masculinized women. Claiming that this is civil rights matter and encouraging surgical intervention is, in reality, to collaborate with and promote a mental disorder. Yes, that is 100% correct. If you notice, the very next day after the United States Supreme Court shoved gay marriage down our collective throats, they started pushing the so-called transgender agenda. If you go to any dictionary that's over 2 years old, you will also notice the word transgender doesn't even exist. That's because the fraudulent field of psychology even invented a word that sounded credible in order to push the normalizing of that used to be a simple mental disorder which needed to be treated with years of ongoing therapy.